say a lot of how this series is going to look will come down to what uThermal, our red tear in the bottom right, is going to do. uThermal.
Over here in the top left-hand side, it is PtitDrogo.
I kind of forgot we meant to say the player name at the end of the intro, but, you know, we made it work. The music was there to save me. Beautiful.
Can you hear me now? Am I a robot?
No, yeah, you're good now. You're good.
Oh.
It was just for a couple moments. It was okay. I put together the bleeps and the bloops to hear what you were saying about Drogo. Oh, it was a fun experience.
Alrighty, so he's gonna be scouting, or is this a proxy? This looks like a very sneaky probe.
Yeah, probe very early across the map and making its way down to the bottom side definitely feels like potential proxying, but then he actually does turn back around, so maybe just checking for a proxy, then going across the map to scout in general. Which, when you're playing against uThermal, is a very good way of going about things, because he will proxy all sorts in these games as the probe gets here to potentially delay the command center, which is an extra little bonus. You also force the extra SCV down to the low ground, and you will have it just play slightly off position for uThermal.
Yeah, it might be also that he was avoiding any... I'm not sure how common SCV scouts are in this matchup, but if they are common enough to avoid, then that would have made it so that he could block the CC as he did and force it out of position, which means a lift off.
Yep. Which is always nice. Anything you can do to slow the Terran down, right? Even those few seconds. There's actually nothing Terrans hate more than the early game probe harass, buildings out of position, having to pull extra SCVs. You know, when I ladder, it's the one thing. Say I have like a couple of bad games. What really sets me off is when the Protoss starts doing that, and I'm just like, oh, just stop it. Let me just get into the mid game already. Like, oh, I hate it.
Yeah, it throws a lot of little things off, and it forces actions out of you that you normally don't have to put in. So it really messes with things for a very little cost on the side of Drogo. So I really like the probe and the path that it took now. I am a huge fan. This is what I mean. See, it's like Drogo thinks through thoroughly, and if he gets away with his plan, oh, will it work? Oh no!
Yeah,
that did not come all the way together, but close.
Ooh, there's a doubt. I'm kind of a little bit skeptical. I guess it's going to be okay. It's going to get out with the shade, but that's a little bit questioning about whether it should have committed through there when he saw the Marauder. I guess the CC was obviously just nearly finished, so didn't work out. Nice to have the Marauders. Definitely does push this back with ease.
Yeah, talk to me about this, Wordy. What do the Marauders mean? Are they, like, they're pretty expensive units, right? They're not a unit that you just kind of make?
Yeah.
What is he looking for?
They can actually maybe force a shield battery early. They're really good defensively, right? Because if this was an Adept and a Stalker coming across, instead of the Marauder, imagine you have a Marine. Well, this Adept would already be very annoying. It can fight that Marine, absolutely. If you then follow that up with a Stalker, it can then be very difficult to ever get rid of that without a bunker up. So the Marauders are expensive, but it also saves you a bunker, and it gives you some pressure across the map. And in certain scenarios, you know, you can actually lose. You know, if the Adept shows up later and he doesn't realize there's Marauders, then there's two. You can maybe get a kill there. So there's a few reasons it works out. This is okay for uThermal. He's going to give up the Marauders. He doesn't do much. He doesn't really force anything. But he's also keeping his just back at home. Don't do it! Get killed by the Stalkers! Oh, Drogo.
Wait, was that on purpose?
No, there's no way, right? What was he, supply blocked and he just didn't want it?
Wait,
maybe?
If he wanted 2 more probes right there, yeah? Then I guess.
Maybe, but then I feel like the pros were already building. I'm not 100%.
Well, they couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
He definitely built something. He definitely built something after killing the Adept.
Yeah, maybe it actually was on purpose.
Yeah, it might have been. I'm not sure how useful.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not really that useful at this stage anymore because you're playing Blink. One Adept's not really gonna change the game. You know, you're oftentimes expecting to lose that in a Reaper Hellion fight or so anyway. So, yeah, I guess just wanted to make sure he could get those couple of probes out, finding his way out of the supply block.
All right, I like it. And he has Blink nearly completed. Things have gone Drogo. I know you said this is okay for uThermal, but I'm not sure I want to start my games by throwing out 2 Marauders, Wordy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, you know, the ideal scenario, right? But I feel like he was obviously hoping to get a bit more pressure, maybe actually get a kill on one of the Stalkers. Getting the Stalker living and getting up the ramp is a pretty big deal. I still don't think it's like I say, I feel like you skip a lot of what you otherwise need to make anyway, because you don't have to build the bunker super early on. You know, there's little things that then add up.
There
Again,
wasn't the shield battery though, for example, this time around.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely some negatives to how this played out for uThermal as well. I just don't feel it's like gonna like. I don't feel like he's gonna lose to this blink attack because he's missing the 2 Marauders is all.
Fair enough. Will he lose the medevac though to the blink attack? Dangerous. No, the medevacs are now on the other side of the map, and these blink stalkers could actually be caught off position, but there is a beautiful observer on the pathway there.
You need observers on a map like this. There's so much dead airspace around all of your bases. You just need to be able to see anything coming in these directions, which is probably why he plays in a Colossi so quick, because he's just going to have so much information and vision anyway. And then you can really always have those Colossi split up properly rather than playing that kind of heavier gateway kind of count style. So I kind of like where Drogo's taking this.
Yeah, I love it. I just looked at uThermal's vision as well, and he was not aware, and that's going to pay off big time. Or not. All right.
I mean, he just saves the medevacs, which is obviously still nice, right? You push those medevacs away, now they're not able to go the way they wanted to. You can see this next medevac up the top, but once again, Drogo has vision along this top side.
Very nice vision game from Drogo all throughout here. I was going to say, uThermal's not aware of the observer. I really thought Drogo could have picked off those medevacs because he knew and uThermal didn't know. That's such a big advantage. So if he could have hidden the stalkers a little bit, tucked them away a little bit further back, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. If you keep them further back and you blink in when the medevacs are just about to unload, boom, it's a couple of kills. And then that's really bad for you as uThermal. If you lose 20 supply in medevacs, then you maybe even just walk across the map with Drogo with like 2 Colossi, you know, around about now. And then uThermal really would struggle to hold on against that.
Yeah, of course, the approach that Drogo took, which is to blink on top of the medevacs, it nets you medevacs without taking any damage, potentially. But, you know, if your opponent's paying attention, maybe you don't get anything at all. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons, but I mean, Drogo has to be sad about that decision for sure.
Dark Shrine building from Drogo, so he's going to bring up a little bit of extra aggression in the game. Obviously, some extra harassment options, basically. As you have the Ghost Academy is down for uThermal as well. So he's going into Vikings. He's got an answer to the Colossi. But yeah, really just happy to go into the Ghost. And the Ghost really, we see a lot of this now, just going into Ghost very quickly as you get a third base. EMPs with that enhanced shockwave are just so good. And, you know, even if it comes down to would you rather have like 3 Ghosts or extra few Vikings just against Colossi? Well, the EMPs do so much against Colossi too if you hit them. So it really can be worthwhile. And in this case, even the disruptors, you get an EMP on a disruptor, it's going to fall so much more quickly when you target fire it. And that obviously helps you, save you from some of those disruptor shots.
That is a great point. All right, so let's see what happens here. Whose position or army do you like better then? uThermals, you would say?
Honestly, I like both of them. Like, I don't feel like anyone's going to die just based on the army at all. You know, I look at them both and I say, yeah, uThermal's kind of going in the right direction. Like, if they take a straight up fight right now, I quite like Drogo's army. But uThermal's only like a couple extra Vikings, a couple of Ghosts on the map away from really having what he needs. And, you know, that's basically the difference of if Drogo moves across the map. You know, by then, uThermal should be able to, with a defensive position, be okay there. I do love the DTs, though. That's obviously harassment, which is very annoying to deal with. And uThermal is just about to move out. But he does have turrets already in place, so the first DT will do nothing at all.
Yeah, the next 2 will be scanned as they are going to be anticipated. So really nice job from uThermal.
Wow.
And now there's... Oh, that's a nice cancel.
Wasn't even a cancel, just a kill, right? So yeah, that's a really good play. But these Vikings could maybe get some pot shots off in Colossi. Drogo moves his army. He blinks the Stalkers to the right. Those are the Vikings are going to go unanswered. But he hits all the Ghosts with the disruptor shot. Oh, the battery overcharge is doing a little bit of something. But is it enough counts?
Weird champ, Wardy. I mean, that's just the wrong people were shooting at the wrong things, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you want the Colossus on the bio, and you want the... I can't see it. I think those blink stalkers really needed to protect against the Vikings, right? Not shoot at the army. Good positioning from uThermal, and this is gonna fall apart for Drogo. But I mean, yeah, the wrong people were shooting at the wrong things, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Those Stalkers should not have blinked to the right side. And I think some of it is just Drogo just wasn't quite ready for a fight. He was a bit late moving his army down into that third location. His disruptor shot will try and help to dissuade this. And even though he had battery overcharge saving the Colossi for a while, even though he got rid of the Ghost before they had even more EMPs with the Disruptor, even that wasn't enough. And that goes to show just how big an issue it was that those Stalkers blinked to the side and let the Vikings have free reign over the Colossi. And now he's just not going to recover from this.
Yeah, maybe he thought, you know, if I blink, he'll back away, or maybe I can pick off a medevac. As he, you know, because a lot of the time, instinctively as a player, if you see someone be aggressive, you go, oh, you know, especially if you're not paying full attention. But uThermal stands his ground, and he's just gonna capitalize tremendously here. I mean, it will be held eventually, but I don't think that's gonna be enough.
Yeah, I mean, eventually is the important word, right? How long has he been desperately trying to reinforce and get extra units out? He just killed all the Stalkers, so the Liberators actually going to hold their own right here as well. And killing all the Stalkers and then Liberators show up, well, Libs are very expensive. Stalkers are very expensive. Libs are too, but Stalkers more so with how many you really need to shut those Libs down. So that's a huge cost for Drogo after he's, okay, not taking big hits to his eco, but lost so much of his army. You don't want to be rebuilding the rest of this.
Yeah, and the Stalkers have limited utility as well, right? And you need a number. I mean, there's so many things that they want to do, but they are kind of specialist units. I mean, they want to deal with the air units primarily, the Liberators, the Vikings, and they're really expensive, like you mentioned. You don't want to be making them otherwise because they're really bad at fighting the ground units. So it's a really difficult balance for Drogo now.
Yeah, no, it really is. And the thing is, it's because, you know, you might look at the supplies and be like, well, Drogo's not in that bad a spot. He's also 4 bases. You've got to realize uThermal's now basically gotten up into those Liberators without any real issue. You know, he's gotten himself to that extra set of tech that you're not usually meant to get to as easily. He's got Ghosts back in the army. They're about to have enhanced shockwaves. The one thing I will say is maybe those upgrades being 2-1 versus 1-1 in favor of Drogo, that could maybe help him out a little bit, but he needs a lot of it comes down to the fight and the control and the position of the engagement, and that's going to be hard to make favorable for Drogo when he's up against the Liberators.
Yeah, and I mean, the Archon addition would be nice if there wasn't so many Ghosts. CMPs are going to land on everything, and with the good positioning, it's going to be very difficult to dislodge. I'm surprised that Drogo goes back in there.
Yeah.
Get his army further taxed. Now, as the Liberators and Siege, Drogo gains a little bit of ground. Okay, yeah. It was a trap.
He just really wanted to try and get the Libs because he knows if Libs keep coming, he's in a lot of trouble, right? So he's trying to keep that Liberator count low, which he's done, but at a huge cost. I mean, 4 Colossi out, and there's not as much of an answer to Colossi as you might want there to be. You know, you'd usually maybe want there to be a few more Vikings. Libs can be good against Colossi, but usually if they have Liberator range, and there's like 6 to 8 of them, just 2 Liberators don't really do much there, and obviously they don't have range either. So, yeah, Drogo will again, I think, survive this. He thinks forward once more, which is kind of terrifying. These Liberators are going to siege up. uThermal will hold his ground and stop Drogo from pushing across the map. Going to lose a Liberator.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy, actually, right? You should kind of leave the army back unless he doesn't think that his army can hold the army of uThermal right now. All right, not too bad from Drogo.
Yeah, he's able to push this back home, so uThermal is able to regather himself on that 3rd base. He is putting his own 4th base down. That's the one thing I'm surprised it's so late, that 4th base, right? I know it got cancelled / killed much earlier on. We were talking about those Zealots getting that. But even then, I feel like he's had so much time to set this back up. The fact it's only just now landing is really crazy. But it means that now it's down. uThermal should have the better eco again, and that should allow him to get into that bit of a better spot once more, and to really, again, take advantage of the position he's in.
Yeah, upgrades still favorable for Drogo, who is now establishing his own 5th. To your point, though, earlier, the Liberators have been kept really low. I'm not even sure that many are being added still. There's none on the field right now. And that's so important as well. Okay, let's see what happens here.
I don't mind it being Vikings instead of Liberators, though, because now he has gone back up to 4 Colossi, even 5 Colossi, and there's not actually any other real splash on the map. If there's something like High Temple you need to zone, or if there's, you know, Disruptors, you know, Liberators are really great at zoning there. In this case, it really is pure Colossi and 1 or 2 Disruptors, so I think the Vikings are a good choice, and maybe, again, uThermal can get the Liberator count up behind this set of Vikings. This is definitely the safer way to play it, as we do have. This is a weird position, because now uThermal is kind of out to the left-hand side as well. I mean, it might turn into a surround, but he's sort of caught in the choke on the left-hand side. With the Vikings all over the place, the Colossi starting to fall. Disruptor shot! Wow!
The speed zone came into play. Wardy! That's the players I think not being used to the shape. The shape got sped up, right? It didn't matter though.
Yeah.
uThermal just has way too much. What a disruptor shot, though.
What a way to try and keep Drogo's hopes alive for like an extra couple of seconds, but uThermal just had too much. And I think that's the best Drogo can ask for in that position, right? You're in location, you're like, okay, I'm coming through this, he's coming through the speed zone, but he's very clumped up. His Vikings are kind of out of position this time around. My Stalkers can target them down, but it still just wasn't good enough. And even with the disruptor, it wouldn't sway anything there. And uThermal does get that first map. And again, that's really important for uThermal because if my math works out correctly, that at least guarantees uThermal top 2 and means that Drogo is now stuck outside of the top 2 positions just based on the map score.
Alrighty, so yeah, that sucks a little bit for Drogo, but I'm sure he still has a lot of game left in him. And also on that last engage, Wordy, uThermal was maxed, so he was really looking to trade. That was the dream for him, right? Even if he loses that engagement, I think he's pretty happy with Drogo being mostly reset, because Drogo was lagging behind like 30 supply or something like that, and a bunch of techs. So that was a really nice trade either way.
I think with uThermal getting the 4th base up, it's even more so just that point of like, you're just in a good spot, right? Like as long as you trade out, as long as you don't lose everything and die to a counterattack, you're probably going to be all right. Drogo was starting to get a 5th base, yes, but he's traded so badly this game, he needed to be that base up, and that's why uThermal was fine without the 4th base for such a long time here. So yeah, good game by uThermal, right? Really just jumped on every opportunity he had, made the most of it, and now we're going into Everdream with uThermal, a chance to take this 2-0. And again, keep himself up at the top of Group B.
All right, we'll see whatever Dream has to offer here, Wordy. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a good map as well. Really gives you a good amount of bases. Again, a good setup for PvT. A lot of back and forth potential as we join the top right side with the blue Protoss player. This is PtitDrogo.
And on the bottom left-hand side playing for Team Liquid, it is uThermal. He's been called MaruThermal before.
Yeah, he actually rocked that name on the ladder for a while, if I'm not mistaken. It's a good one. Back in the day. Now he is Liquid Thermi.
Liquid Thermi, indeed.
I liked his creative way of getting Liquid in the name because, all the Liquid guys have like Liquid in their name, like Liquid TLO, Liquid Mana. It's part of their in-game name, right? But Liquid uThermal's too long, which is why uThermal became Thermi. So I was very excited when Harston joined Liquid to see what he would do if he would become like Liquid Harsty. But no, he actually just put TL Harston, which I thought was a bit of a cop-out, I'm not going to lie. Should have embraced the Harsty, I think.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Harsty.
I mean, it sounds a bit daft, but yeah.
He could have gone for Lips. He could have rebranded.
The rebrand.
Liquid Lips. It's kind of like the opposite of Fire Lips too. Yeah. So you go from fire to liquid. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I'll pass on the message, Jim. Maybe it's still not too late.
Yeah. So we have uThermal's scouting for proxies. It looked like for a second there, right? Is that a thing that happens in PvT a lot?
Yeah, just behind your mineral line. If there's something like I think even just checking for the probe there, right? Because if the probe's hiding there, to come back in and double check what's going on, that can be something you want to deny too. So yeah, he's just being very, very cautious behind his natural. And in case it was like just a gateway or something, that's totally possible as well, because there is space behind the natural here. So just being very diligent. I mean, Drogo's being very diligent as well, because he sees that this is a full wall of, and that immediately sends alarm bells ringing. Why aren't you expanding right away? What are you trying to make me think this is? Do you have a factory on the map? So yeah, Drogo trying to pick up info. It would be really nice if uThermal with this Marine was able to kill this probe now before it gets up the ramp to see the other Marines, because that's just the extra denial of information, and it will not happen because he actually goes deep at Drogo. He's going to go running all the way into the natural. Doesn't try and go up the ramp.
Yeah, he will confirm that there is no CC. However, I imagine that's partly what he was looking for, right? He is an expansion ahead, and now he has to be anticipating that uThermal is planning for some sort of one base aggression.
Yeah, the shield battery is nice, but obviously it's going to be this Hellion drop, right? So you're going to drop Hellions into the main, and then the Marines are going to run at the natural at the same time. This is a real test of how many units you have, which is why I love that Drogo's added a second gateway, because now 2 gateways, that extra gateway production is huge, because you should be able to get enough to clean up Hellions in the main while also defending any damage done by Marines on the front line.
Very well put. And now he's going for the blink as well, Wardy. How do you feel he can capitalize off of this after the fact? Does this weave into that defense or plan somehow?
Yeah, I mean, Blink won't obviously be here for the defense, but if you follow up and get aggressive after this, after cleaning up everything, uThermal will be at a lack of units, right? So that's something to keep in mind. As the Hellions drop off, gonna go running for this main mineral line. The Stalkers try and target the medevac, but then they go back on Hellions, and it's just disrupted everywhere. 7 workers already going down. He's pulled the probes. He's gonna lose 11, and the Marines are gonna run away alive on the natural.
I feel like this is something that Zergs have now started doing, Wardy, but I think Drogo also had a chance here. For example, when you see the Hellions and you see that you can't stop them from going towards your mineral line, why not block between your Nexus and your gas with like double pylon or something like that, you know?
Yeah, anything to buy time.
Yeah, exactly. Just because every shot of those Hellions is so very valuable and it'll kill so many probes. And that went okay for uThermal, things considered, huh?
Yeah, obviously you've got to remember uThermal delays the CC to get this going so quickly, but he's very safe on the defense with the siege tank. And I think the one thing is because you've put Drogo off a little bit now, this follow-up attack of uThermal becomes very powerful. This Marine tank Banshee push, which he's setting up for, this has a lot of potential to get across the map and deal damage. It's so important that Drogo can keep his Stalkers on the map to try and slow this down, get some free picks ahead of time. Otherwise, defending that third base is going to be nigh on impossible. But the first Banshee already moving across, and that's going to force some of these Stalkers to pull back already.
Yeah, I like I like the Red Marine. He's seen some stuff, Wardy, and now he's ready for retirement. I really hope they don't station him there. Just pull him back. Right?
He's been like all over the place as well, by the way. Like he was wandering in the natural, having a bit of a scout beforehand. Drogo does see the Banshee a little ahead of time, so he can warp in some Stalkers. He hasn't realized it, though. The last thing you can have happen now is to actually lose probes from the Banshee as well, because, again, it's just going to power up uThermal's pretty much all in attack, right? You know, he's not really teching up at all. The Stalkers start to pull back to deal with Banshees, and that means the army of uThermal pushes across the map for free, and this is so bad for Drogo. Look at all this mining time he's losing.
Oh, no. Yeah, the worst thing you just pointed out, Wardy. Okay, this Observer is going to take the place of the Stalker, so at least Drogo will see that the 2-punch coming. Will he have enough to stop it? I'm not sure. It looks difficult. These Stalkers want to go up the ramp. They have not been forgotten, luckily.
Oh, he loses a Stalker here already. I mean, killing the Banshee is nice, and the other Banshee isn't really allowed to join up with the army for extra damage output, so that is big, but honestly, the extra damage from those Banshees already huge. He drops the battery overcharge very early, and uThermal can probably just sit this out. I mean, these tank shots are going off. He blinks to the side and loses some Stalkers as well. No. Oh, Drogo, it's falling apart for him right now.
Yeah, indecision. It looks like he wanted to sneak out and maybe cut reinforcements with those Stalkers, but or I don't know if defend that third is even a thing that he should consider slightly or at all right now. This looks so very difficult for Drogo. He is just struggling to get the right amount of units out. The Stalkers will finally get to cutting reinforcements, but it's the main force that he has to be concerned with.
Oh, the Immortal on the ramp is taking damage as well. The Stalkers come from behind, but what are they going to do? Are they even going to kill one tank? Okay, only just. The tank at the front goes down as well, but a Banshee shows up. The fact the tank survives, I think, is just too much. With the Banshee here as well, the Stalker count is almost 0. So the Banshee alone is going to be a problem to get rid of, and you can just see how fast these Stalkers are dying.
Yeah, this Immortal just really not being micro too much this time around. This second Immortal, however, will find himself a good position on the high ground, but it's too little too late. I think that uThermal is looking poised to take this, or at least to definitely